I try not to question the president's good faith, his interest in bringing about change. I do question his judgment about whether he understands who he's dealing with. I mean, and as you say, and this dynastic transition is a new angle that I think has to be discussed more. As long as he's keeping the power in the family, to the Castros, Raul Castro's son, or the Fidel Castro's son, or whatever, that they're willing to sort of generate a little more economic opportunity, as long as it's absolutely under the control of the family and the regime. For example, the hotels, the president's emphasizing flooding Cuba with American tourists. It's actually filling up the hotels that are, the vast majority of which are run by the military. Is that correct? Yes. Where do those tourist dollars go? And how does the regime go about sort of restricting contact of Cubans with
Well, tourists? I think that many people ignore that the person that is controlling the holding company, that is at the same time having relation with the foreign companies and with the tourist sector, the person that is controlling that is the son-in-law of Raul Castro. They are now the one that have the monopoly of the tourist sector, and it is important to say also that the so-called parallelares, or small restaurant, the one that can have more contact with the tourists, most of them are related with the power in one way or another. And if you have in Cuba a business that has certain profit, you at the same time need to behave yourself. You cannot be talking too much, because then they have the tools to close your business. Right. It is important to mention that in Cuba there is the people that are in that cuenta propista, the so-called cuenta propista, or
self-employed.
Exactly, self-employed. They don't have a legal entity. They don't have property rights. Mm-hmm. They don't have license to import and export. Mm-hmm. Then always they are moving between the legal and the illegal system.
Right. And always vulnerable to the state.
Exactly. I think they build in that way because they want to be, that the people feel that they are vulnerable to the system.
Absolutely. And they have a system of sort of vacuuming cash out of people's pockets. I mean, the tourists come in, they tip, and the Americans are better tippers than Canadians, and it's great. But the system, you were saying to me earlier that the taxes on the income of the self-employed, it sounded astronomical.
Yes, I always like to mention how is working the tax system in Cuba. And it is important to say that in the income tax, after they have a kind of progressive way.
Very aggressively progressive.
Yes, and when you are over $2,000 per year, you need to pay 50% of your income. And this is completely amazing. Mm-hmm. Then who can say that we are going to have a new class of micro businesses, people, and medium, small businesses, when you need to pay that taxes? Mm-hmm. It is impossible to grow with this kind of tax system.
Mm-hmm. Are you optimistic or pessimistic about Cuba's future?
I am completely optimistic because the people in Cuba. We have seen in the last time that the reaction of the people is different. Before, we were accustomed to see the police repressing the activists in the street. Nobody complained, nobody say anything. Sometimes even some activists go to the street to try to have contact with the people, and the people were afraid. And we are facing now a completely different situation. There is a lot of videos showing that sometimes the police is coming to arrest a human rights activist or a political activist, and people go there and they try and they avoid that these people be arrested by the police. And also there are a lot of videos also showing a small protest in the street. Sometimes they throw information and people go immediately to take that information and to read. And this scenario is completely different. This is a scenario completely different, and that's why we are optimistic. I think that people are too tired of this regime, And I'm completely sure that soon we are going to see a different dynamics inside of the country.